Anyways, let's check out Ubisoft is turning into a bloodbath, just like the auto industry.
Happened. Been a long road, my friends. You know, I've been sitting back all week watching as people have been arguing back and forth over the potential financial success or failure of Assassin's Creed Shadows. I've never seen people so emotionally involved in a company or in a video game before. It's been nothing but
people just
don't
want Ubisoft
to
fail.
flop. What did you guys think was going to happen? You have a company that houses 20,000 employees, that has studios all across the world, that has some of the biggest IPs in gaming, but also at the same time has lost 80% of their value over the course of 5 years. Something is going to happen. It's not going to be a full sell-off. It's not going to be their closing down, and it definitely isn't going to be them being saved by a single game. They have devalued themselves and driven a lot of their fan base away. You're not going to walk away unscathed from that. So Ubisoft is split apart. They took their 3 biggest IPs, put them into a new subsidiary, cut off 25% of it, and gave it to Tencent. And that's the way that they're going to move going forward.
Yep.
They're still going to control most of their other IP, still working on the Division and stuff like that, but this is the way it's going to look.
Well, I mean, Division
so what does that mean?
sucks.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, because a lot of people don't
I
even
mean,
know
the
what
only
a
game they have
even is.
really
To be honest
going
with you,
for
we don't
them
really
is
see
like
this
Rainbow
kind of thing
Six
happen
Siege
within
now.
the video game industry very often, but I do think we're going to see it more often. This is not the saving grace that a lot of people think it is. Ubisoft is not saved, not by a country mile. They've essentially found a door in the middle of the ocean, and it's now up to them to be able to find their way to shore. And seeing as though they have the same management and the same ownership, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, yeah,
You know,
I mean,
a lot of people
Tencent
have
might
made a
just
fool of themselves over the
put
past
in new
week.
people.
You'd think that people are being held at gunpoint to have a opinion on something. There's been a lot of noise online whether Assassin's Creed Shadows has been a success or failure, while both sides are getting way too emotionally invested in a number that they just don't understand. First, Ubisoft announces 1 million players, then 2 million players. Now, recently, they said 3 million players.
Yeah, wait,
a number
what?
that sounds impressive on paper until you realize that they never really clarified how many of those are actually sales. That word players has become a way for publishers to be able to flex without actually giving real numbers, especially when a game is also
like, how
available
did they get
on a
those
subscription
numbers?
service. We have no clue how much revenue it actually brought in, how many people stuck around, and how well the game is actually doing. What we do know is that Assassin's Creed Shadows isn't doing well on Steam, only hitting a peak of 64,000 concurrent players, and while similarly, Odyssey hit 62,000 concurrent players on Steam and it still sold 10 million units, that was back in 2018. Pre-Steam and pre-PC building boom. In 2025, that matters because Steam has become the proving ground. Outside of Nintendo titles and the occasional console exclusive, nearly every major breakout hit for the past 5 years has blown up on Steam first. If it's big there, it's big everywhere else. And Shadows isn't. If I had to take a wild guess, it looks like there's more people that are playing the game or renting the game on Ubisoft Plus instead of buying it at full price. Imagine if half of the 3 million players were only spending $18 on a subscription that they would cancel once they finished it instead of spending $70. That wouldn't be good. But it kind of makes a lot of sense because the game has had a pretty controversial launch. People probably didn't really have a whole lot of faith in it, and a lot of their other releases haven't done very well, so this is just a safer route to go rather than gambling $70. Now, the other answer is the game could just be really popular on console. After all, Ubisoft announced that it's been their biggest launch on the PlayStation Store to date. However, when I look around at engagement around the game, that picture gets even more blurry. YouTube guide content is receiving extraordinarily low viewership for an open world RPG. And when I look at social media, nobody's actually talking about playing the game. Instead, the conversation has been completely taken over by social politics. The debate isn't even about the combat, the missions, or the design. It's about
it's hard to say
same-sex romances and whether or not Ubisoft deserves moral condemnation or a standing ovation. In the middle of it all, Ubisoft's official Twitter account ratioed both Elon Musk and Grums, and honestly, I think this is hilarious. Our game is out in response to Grums. It has to be one of the coldest corporate responses I've ever seen posted. And the PoE2 joke at Elon's expense is an instant classic. I mean, come on. They both walked right into this stuff. But of course, the replies turned into a war zone with journalists and ideologues acting like Ubisoft just delivered a cultural blow, cheering them on, saying they need to do this more often, while others are running to the defense of Elon Musk and Grums. Honestly, guys, just the more you struggle against these kind of things, the worse it makes you look. Just accept it as a funny moment and move on. People took this way too seriously because everybody wants a win, and it's not even about the game. Because that's the thing. Nobody is talking about the game. Not what it's like to play, not how it actually holds up, not how it compares to Odyssey or Valhalla or any others, just vibes, screenshots, and ideological debates. It's the same pattern that we've seen before. When a game's experience isn't strong enough to carry the conversation, the internet fills the gap with everything else. Which now looking back at the posts that were made and the replies that were made by the Assassin's Creed Twitter account and the announcement of their player numbers, I don't think that any of this was victory posting. I think they were doing it strategically. It was there to raise awareness and investor confidence for the announcement that they were about to make. Ubisoft has formed a subsidiary with Tencent, who takes 25% minority ownership. Ubisoft didn't sell the company. They didn't get acquired. They didn't sell off their IP. What they did do was they carved off 3 of their biggest franchises, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, into a brand new entity, a subsidiary. Think of it like this. Ubisoft put all of their most valuable belongings into a separate locked box, and they handed Tencent a quarter of that key in exchange for 1.16 billion euro in cash. Ubisoft still owns the box. They still own a majority of the key, but now Tencent gets a say in what happens inside. A subsidiary is still part of the company, but it operates like a separate business unit. It has its own leadership, its own strategy, and its own books. But all of it still rolls up to the parent company. This new subsidiary will handle everything related to those 3 franchises, from new games in development to backlog sales to live service options, whatever it might be. The teams working on those games across studios in Montreal, Quebec, Sherbrooke, Sanguinet, Barcelona, and Sofia are now all under that new umbrella. Ubisoft is now licensing that IP. I want to make this clear because a lot of people have gotten this wrong. They have not sold their IP. They are licensing that IP to that subsidiary, which basically means the parent company still owns everything. They still have the rights to everything, but all the day-to-day development and the monetization is still going to happen at that new branch. They're not just trying to make better games, they're reformatting themselves to become more modular, more investable, and more appealing to outside partners like Tencent. They haven't sold the company, they just walled off the most valuable part of it. And that's the key point here. Ubisoft hasn't been saved. They haven't solved anything. They simply have mortgaged their future to buy some more time. The core of Ubisoft as a company still exists. They still run and operate the Division, Ghost Recon, and whatever other IPs that they want to invest in. But the crown jewels, they now sit in this new structure partially owned by Tencent. Ubisoft got the cash, Tencent got the influence, and the rest of us, well, we're sitting here watching them rearrange deck chairs. I want to be absolutely clear. This isn't a win. This is a delay. A way for them to be able to keep the lights on while they address underlying issues.
Well, I mean,
Ubisoft,
they don't want to
as a
lose
company,
it.
has spent the last 5 years running their franchises into the ground, destroying their reputation, and creating mediocre games for blockbuster budgets. All of that has to change. And that change isn't going to be comfortable. In an article written by Mike Straw of Insider Gaming titled "Ubisoft Employees Worried About Layoffs After Tencent Deal," Mike writes, on Thursday afternoon, Ubisoft announced that it would be forming a new subsidiary company with Tencent that will include the company's 3 biggest franchises along with a number of studios. This has led a number of employees within Ubisoft to become worried about mass layoffs happening in the coming months, either before or after the deal with Tencent is completed. Not long after the deal was announced, multiple current Ubisoft employees reached out to express feelings of unease and concern about the future of the company, specifically those not working on Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. In an internal email acquired by Insider Gaming, Ubisoft's Marie-Sophie de Waber said that she understands there is uncertainty and questions surrounding what's going to happen. She also tried to calm any worries about those not working on the 3 franchises. I want to be clear, if you're not working on these brands, that doesn't mean your work matters any less, she said. This agreement will benefit all of Ubisoft, giving us the means to spark more innovation and creativity across the board. This marks a new beginning of a new chapter, and you play a vital role in shaping it. Despite the messaging, however, some aren't buying it. We feel fucked if we're not on the big 3, one of the current Ubisoft employees said under condition of anonymity. They can say these things in an email, but when it comes down to it, we feel like we know where their priorities are. Said another employee working on an unannounced project, I would like to think that our team is okay right now, but we don't know. You would think that they would at least have some sort of clarity for us before publicly announcing the deal. The other messages received all relayed similar sentiments. There was some excitement and hope that a turnaround is coming for the company, but until questions about their status are answered, those various areas of the company don't want to get too happy. We just want to know what's going on, one source said.
Companies
they promise
never
transparency and regular
things.
Communication with us, but we'll
right,
see
they
if
never want to be
happens.
transparent.
I'm sorry,
they never
but if you don't
to
think that
clarify.
massive layoffs and corporate restructuring aren't going to follow a
don't
move like this, you are coping, my friend, and that includes what Ubisoft calls the big 3. There is absolutely no scenario in which Tencent walks up with a massive investment and doesn't get a guarantee that that new business unit isn't going to be leaner, more efficient, and under new management. Tencent is not here to babysit Ubisoft's issues. They are here to make money. So whether you're working for the new subsidiary or you're still stuck in the leftovers, your job is very much on the line. Ubisoft currently boasts 45 studios across 30 countries, more than 20,000 employees. That sounds impressive until you realize just how unsustainable that is. They have more employees than any publisher outside of Xbox and PlayStation with a fraction of the amount of IP. They have people that are making games for hundreds of millions of dollars with development timelines that go on for years. Assassin's Creed Shadows, with that level of polish, marketing saturation, and multiple delays, I wouldn't be surprised if that game cost, I don't know, $400, maybe $500 million. You cannot keep running a company like that. Not when AA studios are making AAA level games, dominating the industry with far smaller teams at a fraction of the cost.
Just pay for
Ubisoft
like
wasn't
30,
failing,
40, or
failed.
$50
and
games.
If Tencent wasn't there to come and pick up the pieces, they were going to run out of steam regardless because they've just lost.
The first Berserker Kazan, right? The game that we played yesterday. Now, that game's even way better. You gotta fucking, but it's better for your better price too. It's like what, $60? Yeah, it's only $60. Now, how much is Assassin's Creed? $70. See, and fucking $10 less, and it's better. Fuck this game. This game fucking sucks penis.
Cost too much money. You have so many releases.
The game
that have
turns you
gone
gay.
up,
The game turns you gay.
You have so many games that are still in development, stuck in development hell in some cases. Beyond Good and Evil 2's been in development for over a decade or something by now. It's crazy. That's a lot of money you're wasting there. They have a ton of games that they've canceled. There's some more money. Too much. It's way too much for a single game to be able to overcome, and Shadows would have had to trend in the same direction as Monster Hunter Wilds to be able to pull off something like that. We know that's not going to happen. Oh, Steam's not everything. I'm sorry, you're coping. Every single breakout hit we've seen has been a success on Steam. There are a couple outliers. Shadows isn't going to be one of them. Well, it's trending in the same direction as Valhalla. We'll see how long that trend lasts.
Wait, did it come on to
Ubisoft.
Epic Games? I forgot to check Epic.
It's not going to happen immediately. It's going to happen in batches more than anything else, but it's going to happen over the next few years because it's what they need to do. It's the reason why their games suck. They have too many people working on the same thing. You guys remember back when I interviewed the developers over at Ubisoft, they all said the same thing. It feels like they have 12 managers for one person. One is enough, and even sometimes that's too much. Ultimately, what I'm hoping is that we're going to see better games coming from Ubisoft. That's what this is supposed to do, because I can't imagine that Tencent walked into this situation and said that they want to hold on to the same management that got them where they are today.
Creed, but they
that
don't
wouldn't
have
make a lot of
on
sense.
here.
First person out the door, Mark Alexis Cote.
Yeah, they have it.
Get on out of here, bud. We don't need you anymore. Keep in mind, Ubisoft is not saved.
Yeah, so
Tencent
people could have bought
is
it
the loan
on
shark
Epic.
that's loaning to a gambling addict right now. And if they can't win their money back, well, then Tencent takes the house. Maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need a little bit of Eastern influence or something like that. Personally, I don't care. As long as I get better games. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I just want better games.
But that does bring me to a very interesting topic, because I don't think that Ubisoft is an outlier in this situation. I think they are the mining canary in the mine.
Well,
I think they are the first sign of something that we're going to be seeing far more of in the future.
About
because
EA.
we haven't seen a lot of these corporate restructurings
no one's caring
in the past.
About
we're going to start to see
fucking
more of them. Because if you look across the industry,
a
lot of companies are suffering
Silent
the same
Hill?
way as Ubisoft. They're spending too much money.
Some of
they're
these games
bleeding
are
money.
like,
their games are failing,
because
and they're getting bigger. And you add all that together,
the choices, and
it's not looking all that good. They keep trying to pretend like they're not
basically
Ubisoft.
the choices being made in the game,
but I know they are.
Or
one of the things I never saw brought up in any of the articles shielding Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed from criticism is, why would players be so ready to celebrate the fall of a company? Why would they want to see any of their beloved franchises sold off? Why is Ubisoft in the position that they're in? Sure,
the
you can point
Division
to political reasons,
the
maybe
Division
throw in
was
some buzzwords and recite the names of your most hated Twitter and YouTube personalities,
fell
but
apart
that doesn't explain everything. You can't deny that players are fed up. It's not just they're upset with a single studio or a specific game. A lot of that anger is aimed at the titans of this industry, the ones that used to lead that are now lingering. While Ubisoft has held aggro and taken a lot of damage, once the tank goes down, the rest of the party's going to follow. According to a Pillion State of Video Gaming in 2025 report, player spending is down. They are closing their wallets, and they are only buying something when they really want it, while these publishers are still spending money like it's 2020. With gamers refusing to buy games, these publishers are canceling their games left and right.
Sitting
not delayed,
buying
that means
a lot of
wasted years, wasted salaries, and zero return on investment. That money isn't going to come back. And with venture capital spending also on decline, fewer outside investors are willing to bankroll their mistakes. leaving these companies completely empty-handed. Even the companies that are downsizing and trying to cut costs aren't actually solving anything. EA, Sony, Take-Two, the moment that they cut staff to look good on an earnings report,
Take-Two,
they spend the next year
Ubisoft,
rehiring
Sony,
just as many people. There's no actual reduction in spending.
Nintendo.
It's all for show.
Actually, Nintendo,
These
I
layoffs
don't
aren't
think
about
even
making smarter, leaner companies. They're about managing shareholder
laid
perception.
off
The
people.
structure stays bloated, the culture stays broken, and the games stay mediocre. I mean, look at PlayStation. They shut down the studio behind Concord, a team made up of Destiny 2 veterans, after the game
I
had
mean,
flopped.
I hate to
Then,
say it, but
within
even
months, they'd open up a
Nintendo,
new
a lot of those
studio,
games
Dark
are
Outlaw Games. This time it was
mediocre.
ran by Call of Duty veterans. They're
Or
still
at least
chasing the
not for
live
me.
service dragon, still
Right, they're
throwing money
for
into the fire.
right.
2K is doing the exact same thing.
Family
Laying off,
oriented,
closing
a lot of
studios, and then opening a
family-oriented
new one to
games.
build their own Fortnite killer. Again,
I mean,
led
they
by
occasionally
ex-Call of
put
Duty
on
talent. You'd think after Suicide Squad, Redfall, and X-Defiant,
rated
someone would
R
learn, but
games and stuff like
apparently
that,
not.
yeah.
The truth is, the AAA industry is cannibalizing itself. A lot of money has gone into games over the past few years, and very few of them have found an audience. Meanwhile, the competition has never been stronger. Smaller studios with tighter visions
Not only
are
that,
shipping
but they
games
keep doing
that actually connect
remakes
with
and
players.
remasters
Eastern publishers
sometimes, so
especially
it's
are
kinda
dominating
like,
the conversation right now. Not just with scale,
just
but with
make a new
identity.
IP
Their
sometimes.
games know what they are. They don't feel
Or
designed
at
by
least if you're
committee,
gonna
and the
do a
players are
new,
responding to
if
that.
you're gonna
I mean, I just saw that
reimagine
5 out
an
of 8 of
IP, at
Japan's
least do
biggest
it
video game
properly,
publishers saw
right?
record-breaking sales and shareholder
fuck it up,
prices
please.
in the past 2 months alone. The other missing 3 just haven't put out a game yet. All the money is sliding in one direction. Look at Monster Hunter. The franchise has exploded in popularity, and it's only going to keep getting bigger. Meanwhile, Ubisoft is still
I
making
still wanna go
Assassin's
back to
Creed
that
games
and
where you're
play-
spending
finish
more
it,
time
too.
chasing icons than actually assassinating people. I saw that the developers of Hitman congratulated Ubisoft on the launch of Shadows, and it made me think,
Yeah, I
why
wonder
can't
if they're
play
gonna make a new
Assassin's Creed
Hitman
like
game,
Hitman?
too.
Why am I not
'Cause,
infiltrating enemy camps,
the
setting traps,
recent Hitman
poisoning
game
food,
was
or
pretty
sneaking in under
successful.
disguise? Why has the franchise become a shallow action RPG with bloated systems and empty scale? Well, it's because under these corporate structures, nothing truly creative can happen. When investors need predictable returns, creativity is a risk, and risk is failure. These companies aren't trying to innovate, they're trying to replicate. They need everyone who bought the last game to buy the next one, so
with
they
all
don't
the
change
remakes
anything.
and the
Just
fucking
more of the same,
remasters,
packaged
all
slightly
they're doing
differently.
are
Which is why we're going to see more
remastering
deals
and
like
remaking those,
Ubisoft, more
replicating
subsidiaries, more carve-outs, more IPs being spun off into new entities just to be able to attract investors, because it lets publishers say that they're restructuring without admitting that they're bleeding. It gives investors something clean to buy, a controlled asset,
I mean,
a franchise
we
vault,
barely had
all the
any,
upside
we barely
with
had
none of the
new
baggage.
IPs
And I
that
hate to
were
be the
that
bearer of bad
great.
news, but China is positioned to buy all of it. Tencent, NetEase, and all these other companies are sitting on mountains of cash. And Western publishers are becoming more desperate by the day. This is the perfect storm. Chinese investment is increasing, Western creativity is stagnating, and audiences aren't loyal to legacy studios anymore. They're loyal to quality. If you're delivering, you're winning. It doesn't matter what flag your studio flies under. So what happens next? We're going to see more of these publishers create these strategic subsidiaries that isolate some of their most profitable franchises, clean up their books, and put a price tag on them. Investors want focus, they want clean data, they want marketable IP, and they want reduced baggage. And these publishers, well, they just want to survive. This is the middle ground. It's not selling the company, it's prepping the showroom. In the next few years, don't be surprised when you see EA spins off its sports division into a new unit, or when Sony fences off its live service investments to protect the PlayStation brand, or when Take-Two splits up
they're gonna have
GTA
to
Online and NBA 2K
consolidate
into
their
something else. Layoffs will
assets
continue,
because,
studios will
if
close, new ones
they're
will
not
open up under
careful,
new
they're gonna
names,
be
and the cycle will
fucking-
continue until finally
They're
somebody
gonna
admits
be
that the core
losing their
model is
fucking
broken.
game
But until then,
IPs.
get ready to see a heck of a lot more Ubisofts. And it really is broken, because when you look at it, you have these massive IPs,
I don't
these
think they
well-known
sell off
IPs
their IPs.
that are
I think they
supporting the
wanna
weight
hold
of
on
these
to it.
huge companies. And if that weight tips in one direction or the other, the
Because
whole
it's
thing
what
just
made
tips
them money
over.
in the beginning.
Look at Ubisoft
or
right
when they
now.
first
They have
started
one IP that is successful. Actually, I think Rainbow Six is doing a little bit better recently. They announced some update and people have been coming back to it. But regardless, Shadows and Rainbow Six. But outside of that, since everything else failed, the entire company just collapsed under its own weight. That's not sustainable. You cannot continue to run a business like that. That's not how things should be working.
I mean, it's
right
the
now.
same way.
But
with
outside of that, since
shit,
everything
oops.
else failed, the entire company just collapsed. It's not how things should be working. Paying attention to what's happening to Ubisoft studios and publishers that are taking notes right now and paying attention to what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with Blizzard, right? They fucking shot themselves in the foot. They barely have any games that people play a lot. The only thing that people play a lot now is what, fucking Overwatch and WoW, and
to
that's about
Ubisoft.
it.
Because you cannot
All
make
the
the
other
same
games
mistakes that they're
died.
making right now. You cannot grow to their size. You cannot treat your audiences the way they have. You can't
Oh, then
stop
maybe Diablo
iterating on your
4 as
games
well.
and making them better over time. You cannot continue to make the same thing over and over and over and then just shove in more monetization and
Yeah.
bloat the game out so you can try to make more money off it. It is only going to lead to failure.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. And if these companies do not change their ways and they're not taking notes and they're not learning from this, the entire AAA side of this industry is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe this is natural selection. It's like
Maybe.
a species that's grown overpopulated, or they evolved in the wrong direction.
Maybe
and
they
because
overstayed
of that,
their
now they
welcome.
basically call themselves.
Maybe they need
because
some
they
new
can't
blood. I
survive
don't
in
know.
such a hostile environment.
Maybe they
anymore.
need a new IP.
But something has to change. They have to do something different because right now they're wasting
yeah,
so
maybe
much
they
money.
need to reorganize.
They're killing off some of the greatest
reimagine
IPs,
something.
some of our most favorite games. They're costing people their jobs, and in some cases, they're even ruining people's lives. You know, I talked to one of the developers that got caught up in a round of layoffs in one of the last companies that went down, and they were on a work visa in another country, and they were engaged, and they were waiting to get their citizenship because they were going to get married.
Oh, was this
and
the recent one with like
They got
an
laid
Asian
off.
country?
Work visa, null. They had to go. That's it. Done.
Yeah.
All of a sudden their entire future just completely uprooted, all because of the fact that you have, you know, these career CEOs, nepotism, and people that are trying
Correct.
to squeeze blood from a stone, all in the name of more
Yeah.
profits.
I
They
mean, it
have no
happens in
idea
every
what they're
industry,
doing, and they're
unfortunately.
ruining these companies. That's what's happening. To no fault of the developers themselves. Now, I don't want it to ever come off like I don't actually care for any of these developers, the people that are working on these games. I know more times than not, these folks are well-intentioned. They just want to make good video games. And they just get caught up in noise that they didn't ask for. If I was a
Pretty
developer,
much.
I would stay as far away from the
Who's
biggest
this, soy
companies
boy?
in this industry,
What do you mean?
at least
Who?
for the next 5
What are you
to 10
talking about?
years. Because there's going to be some wild change that's going to be coming across this industry very
Too
soon.
loud?
Very
Then why are
soon.
you here?
You know,
What?
indie games have been doing really well. So maybe try to make your own.
What are you talking
Anyway,
about?
hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the
Maybe you
video with
should
your
lower
friends,
your
share it
audio?
on social
I don't
media if you do
know.
have the time. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. Also, because I keep being told by my Discord, join the Discord. It's a great group of people. We just talk about all kinds of things. Anyway, stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Family, 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 family.
Well, there we have it. Ubisoft. It's a bloodbath. Auto industry as well, right? Fucking companies, man. Nether Realms 343. Yeah, this is a good one. Bioshock, Ubisoft, Naughty Dog, Respawn, Halos, Rocksteady, Arcane, Blizzard. Yeah, basically. Yeah, there's gonna be more down the line too. Embracer Group that had a bunch of other fucking IPs. Oh boy. Yeah, a lot of fucking companies. Yeah, we'll see how the industry goes. Yeah, fucking Nintendo and EA and some of them are kind of sitting on the sidelines. Well, Nintendo is probably especially sitting on the sidelines. Everyone loves Nintendo because of the family-friendly stuff they keep pushing. But yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Legendary drops. Oh wait, did I? Did I? Oh, no. Alright, I think with that I do have